Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chasing Psychological Safety. Just made this week vacation time. I'm sure Fiona's going to be alone with you any couple of times when I won't be around. But the topic we want to talk to you about today is whether or not there's going to be a couple of other waves of workers in distress and workers in move and workers in a situation where it will bring a serious business danger that we should talk about. And more importantly, if those waves are coming, what can we do about them? And lastly, is the solution to that any different from what we've been telling you all along? And spoiler alert, it isn't. It's essentially the answer to whether or not the waves are coming is they definitely are. We see immense amounts of burnout that hasn't yet bubbled to the surface. The teams we work with, that we have loads and loads of data from, seem to be more and more tired, more and more disengaged in some places. That is before they start working with our tool. And they certainly seem to have kind of banked quite some amount of disillusion and overwork that will then bring them to a halt when burnout truly manifests itself. So that's one of the waves that we're talking about. We believe a big wave of burnout is unfortunately still due to be upon us. And then the second wave is we feel like a second great resignation, a greater resignation, if you will, is on its way. And that is because once the effects of this burnout are clear and once people become more au fait with the fact that they ought to ask for their rights and for what it is that they expect to see happening in the workplace in terms of flexibility before they get a job or before they agree to stay in a job. So once those two things come together, one being the extreme delayed effect of the pandemic work and how burnout we are, and the other one being the fact that flexible working has become the norm faster than any employer who wants to deny it. Will be willing to agree it has happened, so people will react to that once they realize whether their existing job or future job would be offering them a better situation from that point of view. So these two waves, the burnout and the greater resignation, are on their way. What is the answer to that, right? As usual, the same one, the human work at the team level. And realistically, if we want to see people staying put and staying, then we have to make sure that they stay put happily. We have to make sure that they stay put in a way that brings them joy, that heals some of the burnout, that lets them be productive, that lets them feel like they're fulfilling a purpose and they're having impact. So, number one, if we want to keep them, we have got to start on the human work yesterday. We have got to diminish that human debt yesterday. And kind of the same way we've been talking about it always, there's no magical wand that can be waved so that we do that. The only thing we can do as organizations is to one, wake up to the reality of the human work, and find ways to truly get it into the organization, and to lean on our superheroes and look around, see who all are your people work superheroes. I'm almost convinced there is no organization right now that doesn't have a bunch of them. In particular, not thanks to the organization, not even necessarily thanks to just the people, but thanks to the fact that the discourse on the people work is now fairly more distributed. Where you see it everywhere in every industry and every kind of walk of life, even on LinkedIn, and that has permeated all the way to superhero level. And we can definitely count on every organization having a number of them. It's a question of finding them. And once you find these people, if ideally they are high enough, they will influence the leadership level, and the leadership level is the one that has to say, right, we have to get serious about this. It's time we ask our people to help us. It's time we give them the tools. It's time we give them the permission. it's time we give them the recognition for having done this work. If we want them to stay put, ironically, we have to ask them to do more work, but different work, work that matters to them, work that they will feel the effects of right away. And one of the things we were saying in the article yesterday was that there's a case to be made for the human work, the human aspects of our work that have never been mandated before, to not only be mandated now, but to become mandatory, in the sense that obviously we cannot tell people, we can't make them take care of themselves. We can't make them understand each other. We can't, unfortunately, mandate harmony and trust and psychological safety. We can't edict that the universe is going to allow our people to just show up. So what we need to do instead is find those levers that mean something both for people and the enterprise. Help them see that the human work, that caring about yourself, caring about others, understanding emotions, discussing these, this is the totality of the human work. Okay, let's be honest. It's knowing about emotional and behavioral things, and it's doing something about emotional and behavioral things, whether at an individual level or at a group level. It's really not brain surgery. Absolutely every professional is capable of this human work. It isn't a difficult piece of work. It isn't complicated. It doesn't require you to have data, or it would be nice to have data and that data sustains it, but it doesn't require you to have prior knowledge. It doesn't require you to have a PhD. It only requires people to have the goodwill to do it. So once we manage to sell this to our people, explain to them the need for it, obviously not just make human work mandatory as of tomorrow morning, send an email to everyone, make them do it and drop the topic. That's never going to work. What will work is one, leadership that's on board; two, that we bring all our people along on the journey; three, that they see we are serious about this, that they regain their trust in our in us as an enterprise wanting the best for them, because let's face it, they haven't had that for very, very many years, and or ever for some of us. So what we want is a climate where we bring everyone to the table, truly, not just said so, and we say, right, this is what we know. We know that if we have human work done and better behaviors, we make more money. We know we are more performant. We know we can be our best. Do we want to do this? Do we want to be our best? Do we want to row together towards this common goal and common purpose? And if so, then we need you to do some of this human work. And again, what it constitutes yourself is looking within yourself, looking around at your team, understanding how you feel, understanding how they feel, and discussing it, and then acting on your behavior so that you maybe recognize triggers, become better at the positive ones, and so on. Again, not brain surgery, goodwill, understanding what it means, and then putting it in place and remunerating our people for them. For that, use your superheroes. Simple formula for the happiness of your people, simple formula for making more money, simple formula for having them stay put and avoiding these two waves. Best of luck and see you next week. Obviously, before I forget, we seem to do that every video, so this will be a special one where I didn't forget. Don't hesitate to talk to us. We have seen thousands of teams, hundreds of enterprises with almost identical, I'm willing to bet, a situation as the one you have. Come talk to us. We'll tell you a couple of the tips and tricks we're using so that we elevate superheroes, a couple of the tips and tricks we're using so that we overcome team level resistance and let people apply themselves to the human work. We'll show you the tool that we're using so that we make the space and we keep them focused on the work. Just speak to us. No one has worked on more of these teams. No one wants you to succeed anymore. See you next week. Bye.